No more in your crime news. A $12.7 million Medicaid fraud scheme in Eastern Carolina has led to 4 prison sentences and the seizure of millions of dollars. The U.S. Attorney's Office says Kiki Johnson, Francine Super, Brandon Sims, and Kimberly Sims ran LifeTouch LLC, a substance abuse company in Kinston and Goldsboro, and First Choice Healthcare Services, a urine drug screening company in Kinston. Over 5 years, prosecutors say Johnson and Super oversaw more than $1 million in illegal kickbacks to lure patients to show up for services that Medicaid would pay for. Johnson and Super will spend 6 years in prison with over $15 million in Medicaid restitution. Brandon Sims was sentenced to 3 years with over $12 million in restitution, while Kimberly Sims was sentenced to 2 years with over $1 million.
Alright, now one thing y'all must know about this country is that money rules everything. And one thing this country don't play about is their money. You could do all the unaliving, shootings, taking each other's lives, stealing, and they don't really care. But the minute you start taking money or not paying them taxes, and a lot of it, that's where they draw the line. I've seen white collar crooks get more time than guys who actually took someone's life. And it sounds crazy, but it happens more than we think. And in this video today, we're going to get into a whole family who ran up about $14 million plus in Medicaid fraud. And when it came down to it, it was greed and sloppiness that led to their demise. Now, I'm not telling you to commit crimes, but I also can't tell you what to do. But I am saying whatever you choose to do in this world, whether it's legal or illegal, be smart about it. Greed is the #1 reason people get caught. That and showing off on social media, which was another factor that played a part in this situation as well. Now we're going to get into the story of a man by the name of Brandon Sims, who was arrested along with his sister and mother when the feds came knocking. They made a lot of money, but paid a heftier price for it in the end. So we're going to get into all that, but before we do, make sure you hit that thumbs up button so we can get this video into the algorithm hype. And if you're not subscribed to the platform already, make sure you do so now. Let's get into it.
Thank you for tuning in to Brandon's Motivational Minute on Monday. Thank you for tuning in to Brandon's Motivational Minute on Mondays. Let me encourage you that anything is possible as long as you believe in yourself.
Medicaid and Medicare fraud schemes spanning several years and totaling $65 million in fraudulent billings.
Eastern Carolina has led to 4 prison sentences and the seizure of millions of dollars. Kinston, over 5 years, prosecutors say Johnson and Super oversaw more than $1 million in illegal kickbacks to lure patients to show up for services that Medicaid would pay for.
Fam, imagine being sentenced alongside your mom, sister, and another relative for a $14 million Medicaid fraud scheme. And instead of feeling remorseful, instead of preparing yourself mentally before being apprehended, you go to Instagram and show yourself at church. I'm not mad at it. But then hours later on this same Sunday, you show a bottle girl holding a sign and say 12 million later with your favorite hashtag, oh hi. Oh, you feel like you had enough nerve to do that and taunt the feds? I damn near thought I was tripping. And then
let me tell you right now, taunting the feds is the worst thing you can do. First and foremost, if they really want you, they're going to get you. 9 times out of 10, when you're doing something illegal and you think you're getting away with it, you're only getting away with it because you're not on their radar. You're really not that big to be on their radar. You got to remember, it's 8 billion people in the world and there's a whole bunch of crime going on. So until you start really taking, they don't care yet. But the minute you get on their radar and you start taking millions upon millions, oh yeah, they coming.
At that point, I know it was a story I needed to bring to you guys' attention. After looking at his indictment, as well as his sentence, compared to his mother, his sister, and also another family relative, it might make sense on why he choosing to do what he do, feeling like he damn near untouchable. And that raises another question that people have been whispering around this case. How much money would you turn on your own folks for if y'all was in this scheme together? And when I say your folks, I'm talking about your biological sister and the woman that birthed you. Did somebody inside that operation cooperate with federal investigators? Or is this just one of those situations where the charges ended up falling differently for different people? How rare we hear something like that, huh? Because when you start digging into the story of Life Touch LLC, the treatment center at the center of this case, you start realizing this situation is a lot bigger than just an Instagram post. So today, fam, we gotta talk about it. The clinic prosecutors say billed over $12 million to Medicaid. The gift cards allegedly paid the patients, the family members caught up in the case, and the one question people keep asking, what really happened behind the scenes of this operation? But before we go over this one, I want you guys to remember, I don't give you no angle. I just give you the story. So with that being said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We'll jump right to it.
Alright, now before they get into it, right? Just know that sometimes when you get caught up with someone, no matter what the case is, no matter what the charges are, most times, whatever time you receive is going to be different from your co-defendants depending on your criminal rap sheet. So if you have a history of committing crime opposed to someone who doesn't have a history, then 9 times out of 10, the person that doesn't have a history is going to get a lighter sentence, right? Depending on the guidelines, because especially like California, they got the 3-strike rule where no matter what, if you get 3 felonies, it's over, which is crazy. But like I said, it's just all depending on your criminal background. That's why they say don't get in trouble.
When we walk the streets of NCCU. Thank you for tuning in to Brandon's Motivational Minute on Mondays. Let me encourage you that anything is possible as long as you believe in yourself. But the key is to believe in yourself. Believe that you can be everything that you desire to be. Believe that you can have everything that you desire to have. It starts with you, and it starts today. Never mind what they said about you. Never mind what they confess over your life. Allow what you confess today to command your week. Make this the best week of your entire life. Thank you for joining me on Brandon's Motivational Minute on Mondays.
So fam,
now isn't it crazy? You see all that, right? Motivational Mondays and motivational this. Whole time this man committing fraud. But the crazy part about this is people online will see his lifestyle and want it, and not understanding that he's committing fraud or committing crimes to have that lifestyle. And a lot of times we see that where people are doing good for themselves, naturally. But they just see other people who they think are doing better than them because they're going on vacations, they have designer clothes, cars, and they compare themselves to them and feel that they're not doing enough. Whole time you're comparing yourself against something where you can't compare because they're committing crime. Crazy.
And that was Houston influencer Brandon Sims. As mentioned at the very beginning, him, alongside his whole family, was sentenced to prison after pleading guilty to operating a $14+ million Medicaid fraud scheme. So to understand how this situation even happened, we first have to talk about Medicaid. Now, Medicaid is a government healthcare program designed to help people with low income receive medical treatment. That includes things like doctor visits, mental health services, and addiction treatment programs. And when it comes to addiction treatment, Medicaid will pay clinics to provide services to people trying to recover, which on paper is a great thing because addiction treatment can be extremely expensive. But according to federal prosecutors, some people learn how to turn that system into something else entirely, a business. And that's where Life Touch LLC comes into the picture. Life Touch was a substance abuse treatment facility operating in Kingston and Goldsboro, North Carolina. The company offered programs meant to help people battling addiction. Programs like intensive outpatient treatment, counseling sessions, and routine drug testing. And those services were billed directly to North Carolina Medicaid. Now, according to investigators, the clinic was bringing in serious money, millions of dollars in Medicaid reimbursement. But prosecutors say, behind the scenes, the way those patients were being brought in was raising serious red flags. And that's where the gift card system comes in the picture. According to court documents, patients weren't just showing up for treatment. They were allegedly being paid to attend. Investigators say the clinic gave out gift cards every week, depending on how many days a patient came into treatment. The more days you attended, the more money you received. For example, Attend 3 days, you might get around $45. Attend 4 days, it's around $50. Attend 5 days, it's roughly around $60. And that wasn't all. According to prosecutors, patients could even receive extra gift cards for bringing in new patients. Now think about that for
Well, to be honest with you, that sounds like a hell of an idea, right? Because a lot of times these people that have addictions, even if they want to go, they feel like it's no reason for them to go, other than them getting clean. And you got to really want to be clean in order to get clean. But if you throw an incentive in there like that, then, it's not a bad idea. It gives them a reason to look forward to going to the clinic and staying clean, because when you go to the clinic, you got to be clean, right? So at the end of the day, it could help. I guess they just did it in a way that was different than others. I don't know, but it actually sounds like a good idea if you ask me.
a second. Instead of people coming strictly for recovery, the program allegedly created an incentive system where showing up meant getting paid. And every time a patient showed up, the clinic could be billed for the service. Let me give you an example. Say you had 20 patients in IOP program. The average reimbursement is $250 a day, 3 days a week. That's $60,000 to $90,000 a month in revenue. Many centers scale to $1 million plus yearly. And that would explain a lifestyle that had appeared on social media. Brandon with his home and $1 million in cash.
Look at that. Look at that. You see? And this is one of the biggest downfalls every time you hear about somebody going down for something financial, right? It's because these guys love to put every single thing on social media. They can't help it. Now, scratch me saying that was a good idea, right? Because yes, it was. However, what they're saying is these guys were bringing in people that wasn't even addicts. They were just bringing people, period, because what's happening is they're benefiting off of having patients, period. Now, the Medicaid system that's paying them, they're not looking at who's coming in. They're taking their word for it and saying, all right, they're having patients, we got to pay out because they have X amount of patients. But what's happening is they're having patients that's not even having addictions, they're just regular people. But they're filling up a slot, all for the sake of money.
Congratulations, Brandon, on your new home. Housewarming.
Fam, over time, those billings started stacking up. According to federal prosecutors, between 2018 and 2023, the operation generated more than $12.7 million in fraudulent Medicaid billings. And during that same time period, over $1 million worth of gift cards were allegedly distributed to patients. But investigators say the treatment program wasn't the only place the money was coming from, because the patients attended those programs were also being sent for urine drug testing. And those patients were billed through a laboratory connected to the same family. According to court documents, a company called First Choice Health Services handled the drug testing for patients. That company was reportedly owned by a family member of the Life Touch owner. Now, drug testing is a common part of addiction treatment, but prosecutors say the lab services were also part of the fraud scheme, because every test performed on a patient could be billed to Medicaid. Meaning the more patients you had and the more often you tested them, the more money the operation could bring in.
See, there you go. That was the thing. They were having patients that didn't have any addictions. They just had people. So not only are they making the money from the Medicaid with having the patients, now they're also making money with the drug testing. So they were just making money all across the board.
Eventually, the billing patterns caught the attention of Medicaid auditors. A managed care organization called East Point had launched an audit after receiving complaints. One complaint alleged that people were being approached and told they could receive gift cards if they attended classes at the clinic. Auditors began reviewing patient records, billing information, and clinic policies. And during these audits, employees reportedly denied that the clinic was paying patients. Instead, investigators say the clinic claimed the gift cards were coming from outside organizations. But according to prosecutors, that explanation didn't match the evidence. Eventually,
so there you go. They got caught in a lie. So not only did the patterns cause them to have an audit, which pretty much exposed everything and made them further investigate, when they actually investigated and found out about these gift cards, the employees lied about it and said that it was coming from an outside source. However, when these people do investigations, they are pretty thorough, because you got to remember, they're giving you government money, which is federal. You think they're not going to pay attention to that money after they do an investigation, after they already have a suspicion that you was doing something funny? Well, they did, and come to find out the employees lied and got caught in a lie because the evidence that they had against them didn't add up to what the employees were saying.
Investigation expanded beyond administrative audits. Federal authorities stepped in, including the FBI, the IRS Criminal Investigation, and the Medicaid Fraud Control Unit. Agents began tracing bank accounts, financial records, and communications tied to the business. And as the investigation progressed, they say they discovered evidence that the gift cards were being purchased through various financial accounts connected to employees and associates. Then come November of 2023, investigators executed search warrants tied to the case, and one of the most dramatic discoveries came in Texas, where the owner of the clinic, aka Brandon, was living. According to prosecutors, after learning about the investigation, he withdrew over $1 million in cash from a bank account. Agents later executed a search warrant at his home. Inside a safe, they found $1.3 million in cash, along with luxury vehicles and other assets connected to the operation.
Now, clearly he's not too smart, right? Because why would you withdraw $1 million from your bank account? That's a weird, for one, that's a red flag. But then two, you took it to your house? You didn't think to stash that money anywhere? You could have so much as stashed it in your ex-girl's house. You could have took it to, well, you can't take it to your mother's house because she was down with everything. So take it to somebody's house who has no relation to anything going on. But instead, he took it to his own house and put it in the most obvious place, his safe.
Thank you for tuning in to Brandon's Motivational Minute on Mondays. You may not have all of the pieces to the puzzle, but the piece that you do have, it fits your puzzle of life. Get excited because there are more pieces to your puzzle. This week, I want you to work the piece that you do have. Thank you for tuning in to Brandon's Motivational Minute on Mondays.
As the investigation unfolded, it became clear that multiple members of the same family were involved in different parts of the operation. According to prosecutors, the owner ran the treatment center. His mother worked as an office manager. His sister owned the drug testing lab, and other associates worked inside the clinic. Together, investigators say the operation generated millions in Medicaid billings over several years. And eventually, the case would end up in federal court, with multiple members of the organization pleading guilty to different charges. But when the sentences finally came down, that's when people started asking the biggest question surrounding this case, because the person who owned the operation did not receive the longest sentence, and that has left some people wondering what really happened behind the scenes of this investigation. Brandon's mom and an assistant was first to be arrested.
For alleged Medicaid and Medicare fraud schemes spanning several years and totaling $65 million in fraudulent billings.
What we're interested in doing is recouping that money that's a part of the waste, fraud, and abuse that goes on in this country where healthcare is already so expensive.
Daniel Bubar is acting United States Attorney for the Eastern District of North Carolina, calling this national effort the largest announcement of a healthcare fraud enforcement action on any given day in the department's history. One case centers around LifeTouch, a company formed in 2009 providing substance abuse services to Medicaid recipients at 2 locations in Goldsboro and Kinston. Court documents say Kimberly Sims, Francine Sims Super, Brandon Sims, and Kiki Johnson are all charged with allegedly incentivizing Medicaid recipients to attend LifeTouch for treatment services in exchange for gift cards. At this time, Kimberly Sims is the only one who's pled guilty. Under the scheme, patients were told if they attended outpatient substance abuse meetings 5 times a week, they would get a $60 gift card. 4 times a week, $50 gift card, and 3 times a week, $45 gift card. Federal prosecutors say by incentivizing Medicaid recipients to attend LifeTouch, they were able to attract, retain, and bill Medicaid for years of substance abuse services.
But to be honest, is that illegal? Like, if you're doing it the right way, to be honest with you, that sounds like a good incentive if you're doing it the right way, if you have good intentions. Because what that does is, like I said earlier, it gives them something to look forward to. And in order for them to thrive within the program, they got to be clean, right? So here's my thing. I would say, yo, if y'all come, you get a gift card if you come 3 days out the week. And if you're clean, maybe you might get a bonus. But like I said, if you're not clean, you don't get nothing. That sounds like a good incentive, but the problem is they did it the wrong way.
Court records showing over the life of the scheme, LifeTouch allegedly received as much as $25 million in North Carolina Medicaid proceeds.
LifeTouch was supposed to be providing substance abuse care for a segment of the population that really needs it. Folks who are struggling from alcohol addiction or drug abuse addiction.
Bubar says an audit launched this investigation, and so far his office has seized $6 million in assets from LifeTouch. Another case that's part of this federal effort identifies 56-year-old Randall Wood of Flagler, Florida, in connection with the durable medical equipment case targeting elderly people. Federal prosecutors allege in court records that Wood used his Winston-Salem-based company to ship and deliver medically unnecessary equipment for Medicare recipients, in turn submitting false claims to Medicare for reimbursements.
And these are allegations in Mr. Wood's case, but there's a total of $39 million in fraudulent Medicare reimbursements that were a part of his case, as alleged.
Additionally, Bubar's office says several healthcare and medical health providers have been convicted after an investigation into their billing and documentation practices.
They were carrying out treatment for people who simply didn't need it. They were actually preying on an immigrant population from places like Syria and Afghanistan.
Bubar says this criminal investigation and its results reinforce a commitment to stamping out waste, fraud, and abuse in the healthcare system, telling me the goal is to hold people accountable and recoup as much money as possible.
We want to recoup the monies. We want to seize assets. We want to seize land.
Of course they do.
Eyewitness News reached out to attorneys for all people charged in this effort. All those who responded back declined comment.
Fast forward.
Now, just think about it, right? You hear all that money you heard in such a short period of time, right? Millions upon millions. Just think about the people who's doing this right now but haven't been caught, right? Think of the people that's falsifying documents. Think of the people that not giving the gift card incentive so the patterns don't look too off. Think about the people that's doing it a little smarter. They're pocketing possibly millions because this scheme right here didn't start with them and it damn sure won't end with them.
The investigation wrapped up and charges were filed. The case began moving through federal court. And one of the first people to be sentenced was the office manager, who was also the owner's mother. In January of 2026, she was sentenced to 72 months in federal prison, 6 years. The court also ordered her to pay millions of dollars in restitution connected to the fraud scheme. Another executive tied to the clinic.
All right, now think about it. She only got 6 years. They made it seem like she got the biggest time. When they said the most, I'm thinking they about to say 10, 20, 30 years, something like that. She got 6 years after being accused of taking, what, 65 million, they said? 65 million? 6 years for 65 million? I do that time on my hands. Right? I'll sleep that time away knowing that once I get home, this case is over and I can have this money freely.
Also received 6 years. Then there was the sister who owned the laboratory company performing the drug testing tied to the clinic. She received 2 years in federal prison. The owner, the last to be sentenced, some say for his cooperation. The owner of the entire operation faced sentencing. His plea agreement was sealed, 501k. That happened the following month, February of 2026. He pled guilty to failing to file federal tax returns connected to the millions of dollars prosecutors say flowed through the business. He escaped all the other charges. The judge sentenced him to 30 months in federal prison, 2.5 years. He was also ordered to pay nearly $2 million in restitution to the IRS, and the court ordered that he could no longer operate or work for any businesses that bills federal healthcare programs. And now, when those sentences came down, some people started raising eyebrows because in many fraud cases, the person running the business ended up receiving the longest sentence. But here, the owner received less time than some of the people working inside the operation. And when situations like that happen, people start asking questions. Did someone cooperate with investigators? Did prosecutors structure the plea agreement differently? Or did the charges simply play out that way in court? The truth is, without seeing the sealed plea agreements, the public may never fully know. But what really added another layer to this story is what happened this past Sunday. After the world found out that Brandon and his family was sentenced, the man at the center of it was still active on social media, posting motivational content, showing himself at church, and then later posting from a nightclub with a bottle presentation, as mentioned at the very beginning, 12 million later. Oh,
see what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? So he got off lucky and then got the nerve to go to a club and put 12 million later. Why? Right? And then if you ask me, he definitely told. Here's my thing. Whenever somebody got sealed documents, especially when you have co-defendants, you did something you had no business doing, which is why you wanted those documents sealed. Because if you didn't, why seal the documents? See, that's something that has to be requested. That's what people don't understand. Unless you're working with the government, but that's a whole different story. But like I said, that's something that has to be requested. So at the end of the day, with sealed documents, why? And you are the business owner. Ain't got the less time and got nerve to troll. Crazy.
Spend hard-earned, tax-paying citizens' money and get a slap on the wrist, I guess we gotta expect those reactions, huh? But there you have it, fam. When you step back and look at the full time.
Alright, that's pretty much it, man. This was bold. I ain't gonna lie. This is definitely something new. His mother ended up getting more time than he did. But then again, when you pay attention to it, it did say that she generated, I think, within her practice, 65 million or maybe a crore out. It's just too much. Like I said, him being the owner, considered the business owner or the person that mainly runs it, and he didn't get nothing, it's kind of crazy. But I guess that's where we at. Clearly he has no morals to where his mother is in jail and he's still carrying on like this. Right? If my mother was in jail, you think I'd be outside 12 million later? No, if anything, I'd be in the house. Right? Trying to think of a plan. I don't know, man. Y'all jump in the comments, let me know what y'all think about this. Do y'all think he told, or do you think that he just ended up getting lucky and got a slap on the wrist? Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you're notified every time we drop new content. And remember, as long as you keep on watching, I'm gonna keep on dropping. I'm out.